Good morning. I'm going to continue my discussion on memory management in this class as well. In the last class, we discussed about hardware support that operating system gets to access instruction or data from the main memory quickly. A high-speed cache known as translation look aside buffer TLB is introduced into the system, which will speed up the process of accessing data or instruction from the main memory. More the TLB hit ratio, that is, you make more entries into the TLB, lesser will be the memory access time, or you can say effective memory access time, that we have seen in the last class. In today's class, I'm going to discuss about one more non-contiguous memory allocation approach called segmentation. But before I discuss about the segmentation, let me introduce a last topic that is related to paging called shared pages in today's class. Let us try to understand the concept of shared pages with this example. Let's say there are three users or three processes, and all these processes are trying to execute the same code. So let us assume that they are all trying to execute editor process. Okay, and this editor process is of size, let's say 150 KB, and divided into three pages of 50 KB each. Okay, ED1, ED2 and ED3. A process, let's say P1, would need this code, editor code, plus an additional 50 KB memory space for its data. It might need some data for its stack as well, but we have ignored that. So that means in a nutshell, a process might need 200 KB of data. Since we have three processes here and all of them are willing to execute this editor code, if you have three copies of this editor code, then you would end up allocating 600 KB of memory for these processes. But because of the concept of shared pages, what can be done is that you load ED1, ED2 and ED3 in different frames in the main memory and allocate 3 frames for storing the data of each processes. For example, this data 1 is the page where the process P1 stores the data. Okay, and this page is put in frame 1. Similarly, data 2 is the data page of process P2 and data 3 is the data page of process P3. So what we have done, we have avoided making additional copies of the editor code. Instead, we have made all the processes to refer to the same pages. That's what is the concept of shared pages. For example, if you look at the page table of P1, there is an entry 3, which means that that is page 0, that is ED1 is stored in frame 3, ED2 is stored in frame 4 and ED3 is stored in frame 6. So the same entry is repeated in the page tables of P2 and P3. So first of all, you have to remember that every process will have its own page table. Okay, and every page table entry corresponds to a frame number where the corresponding page of the process is located in the main memory. Okay, so here in the page table of all the processors, we are going to make the same entry, which means that all of them are referring to the same pages in the main memory. Whereas now we give them different frames for storing the data. For example, if you see in P1, the data page is stored in frame 1. In case of P2, the data page is stored in frame 7, and in case of P3, the data page is stored in frame 2, and so on. So what we have now done is that we have used only 150 KB memory space for the editor code, and we have given another 150 KB space for all the three processes for storing their data during the execution. So we have only allocated 300 kilobytes of memory instead of 600 KB. So that means we have saved, in this case, in this specific example, we have saved 50% of the memory. So when you have, let's say, 40 users or 40 processors trying to execute an instance of the editor, the amount of memory that you are going to save is going to be huge or significant. This is an advantage of shared pages. The same shared pages concept can be used when the two processors tries to communicate. I hope you still remember when we discussed about inter-process communication, we discussed about two methods of realizing the inter-process communication, that is IPC. The first method is shared memory approach. In that case, both P1 and P2 shares memory space, and which is used for the communication. So this approach can be realized using the shared pages approach. I hope you understood. What is the other inter-process communication approach that we had discussed? That is message passing interface. That is when the processes are running in two different physical machines. Okay, when the processors running on the same machine trying to communicate, then the shared memory approach could be one of the approaches. You can also use message passing interface approach in this case, but shared memory approach could be faster. Now to implement that, we can use this shared pages concept. I hope you have understood this. Now let me go to the another memory allocation approach, which is non-contiguous memory allocation, called segmentation. Let us try to understand the difference between the paging and the segmentation, and compare them and try to infer which one is better. Okay, let's look at segmentation technique for memory allocation. Now what you are seeing in this diagram is logical address space of a process or a program. Now if you take any program, the program will at least have three parts: code, data, and stack. Okay, and further in the code you might have written a main program and many procedures, let's say procedure 1, procedure 2, and so on. The same thing has been shown here. There is a main program, there is a procedure sqrt, there is stack, subroutine, some subroutine and symbol table, etc. Okay, now all these could be called as segments. You can the code part could be code segment, or further you can divide that into main segment and procedure 1 segment, procedure 2 segment, and so on. Those of you who have the knowledge of programming using 8086 microprocessor, I think this has been removed from your syllabus and you have microcontroller in your syllabus. But if you just look at the assembly language code that we write for 8086 microprocessor, user or the programmer will explicitly specify the segment name like this: code segment, data segment, extra segment, like this. Okay, so every program is divided into segments of different sizes, unlike paging where the program is divided into fixed sized parts called pages. Okay, so that is what is known as segments. This is what is the user's view here. A programmer or a user will see the program as different segments, okay, of different sizes. This is the basic idea behind the segmentation. Now the operating system will allocate memory as per the requirements of these segments. Let us take an example and see with the concept of segmentation. Yeah, you look at this example. In the previous slide I had shown the segments of this process. There are 5 segments and each segment is numbered. Okay, 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now if we have to access a particular byte in this segment, what user has to specify or what CPU has to generate is the segment number and the offset. Now you can call this as the logical address generated by the CPU. So look at the main memory or the physical memory. Now this segment 0 is actually loaded from 1400 to 2400. What you are seeing here is the segments are stored in an out of order fashion. Therefore, this kind of memory allocation is also called as non-contiguous memory allocation. Where is the segment 2 stored? It is stored from 4300 to 4700. To support this kind of memory allocation, we need a hardware, that is a segment table, like a page table in case of paging. What are the entries that are going to be made in this segment table? Here there will be 2 entries made, unlike paging where there will be only one entry, which is nothing but the frame number corresponding to a page. Whereas here there will be 2 entries corresponding to a segment. What are those 2 entries? One is the base, other one is the limit. For example, if you see segment 0 starts from 1400. So therefore this 1400 can be called as base address. Okay, this is what is stored against the segment 0 in the segment table. And what is the limit of this segment 0? So the segment 0 is from 1400 to 2400. So therefore its size is 1000 bytes. Let's assume that it is 1000 bytes. So this entry is also made in the segment table against the segment 0. Next, if you see the segment 1, the segment 1 starts from 6300. So what is its base address? It is 6300. 0 0. Okay, and what is the limit? It starts from 6300, ends at 6700, so therefore its limit is 400. So this is how the segment table is created. If you see here, for example, the next segment, segment 2, starts from 4300 and ends at 4700, so its size is also, its limit is also 400. So all these entries are made in the segment table. Now if we have to, let's say, access some 800th byte from the let's say segment 3, so what will be present in the logical address? You will have segment number. This, so you have should have written segment number first and then the offset, but that's okay. The segment number in this case is 3 and then the offset is 800, right? So this becomes the logical address, which will be generated by the central processing unit, and this logical address is converted into physical address with the help of the segment table. Now this segment number is used to index into this segment table. What is the segment number here? It is 3. So therefore at 3 what we have is this base address, that is 3200. To this base address the offset 800 is added. How do we ensure the memory protection? That I'll discuss in the next slide, but it is added. So that is 0 0, 8 plus 0 is 0 4. Let's assume that 400 is the address and it is part of the segment 3. So this becomes the physical address of the 800th byte which is present in the segment 3. I hope you understood. Let me give you another example. Before that, let me erase all this. Okay, so let me give you now another example. Let us say we are trying to access 53rd byte from segment 0. Okay, so I write segment 0 and 53 as like this, 53 as my logical address. Okay, and this 0 is used to index into this segment table. At 0, what is the base that I have? That is 1400, and this 53 is less than 1000. That means it is within the limit. So the limit ranges, limit says what? The offset ranges from 0 to 53. Similarly, in this case, this 400 represents what? The offset ranges from 0 to 400. So I am referring to some byte which is stored at an offset of 53 from from the beginning of segment 0. So what is the base address of segment 0? That is 1400. I add this 53 to that, so I get 1453. This becomes a single physical address. Here, though the logical address has got two parts here, this gets converted into single physical address, which is which is used to refer to a particular byte, that is 53rd byte in the segment 0. Now this physical address falls where? It falls in the range of 1400 to somewhere in this range. Okay, so it is nothing but the address of the 53rd byte starting from the 1400 in segment 0. So that's what I am trying to refer to. This is how the concept of segmentation is realized. Now if you see here, before I go ahead and discuss about the hardware support that segmentation gets, now if you see here, no, these segments are of variable size. So this is something like variable size partitions in contiguous memory allocation. Only the difference is here the segments are put in an out of order fashion in the main memory. So therefore this kind of memory allocation is called as non-contiguous memory allocation. So wherever you have variable sized partitions, you have the problem of external fragmentation. Here also you can have external fragmentation. Okay, suppose if one of the segment is removed from this main memory, and if no segment of some other process could be accommodated there, then that space is going to lie idle. That is a fragment, and this is known as the external fragmentation issue. So in paging we have got the internal fragmentation issue. Here we have external fragmentation issue, but here the amount of memory that is going to be wasted is more compared to paging. So the most commonly used memory allocation approach is non-contiguous memory allocation, further paging, in that paging compared to segmentation. Now let me go ahead and introduce the paging hardware support that the operating system gets for realizing the segmentation. Let me go to the next slide. Yeah, you see here, like I told you, the logical address will have two parts. One is the segment number. This is the segment number. And what is D? This is the offset of the byte that we are trying to access from the physical memory. This, you can call this as displacement or offset. Okay, now see this D is compared with the limit entry in the segment table. The S is used to index into the segment table, that is the hardware, and this, if you remember, this we had already discussed when we started the discussion about memory allocation. Okay, so this is a kind of memory protection which is given by the operating system, so that one process will not access the address space of any other process. For example, if the limit value is 400 for a particular segment, and the displacement value is say 300, so this is well within the limit. That means the offset ranges from 0 to 400, and the offset that is generated by the CPU is well within the limit. So therefore this 300 is added to the base value present in the segment register. Okay, and that gives you the physical address. Hope you are able to understand. This physical address is used to refer to a particular byte in the main memory or in the physical memory. Suppose the CPU generates some logical address, and let's say for this particular case the limit is 400 for this particular segment, and the offset value generated by the CPU is 800, which is greater than the 400, which means that the process is trying to access the address space of some other process. So a trap is generated, or a trap is generated to the operating system, and operating system will display an error, addressing error to the user, indicating that the process is trying to access the address space of some other process or the operating system, or violating the memory protection policy. Okay, so this is about the segmentation hardware support that operating system gets for segmentation, realizing the segmentation technique. So we are done discussing about paging and segmentation. The main difference between paging and the segmentation is that in paging we divide the program into pages of fixed size, okay, whereas here in segmentation we divide the program into segments, and segments are of different sizes. Okay, so here variable size or different sized segments. Okay, here there is a problem of internal fragmentation, but here there is a problem of external fragmentation. So the segmentation approach is more closer to how user looks at a program. He looks at a program as code segment, data segment, stack segment, etc. Whereas the in paging, the user's view will be completely different from the actual physical memory view. Here pages are loaded into frames, and frames are also of size same as that of the size of the page, whereas here as per the requirement of the segment of a process, memory is allocated, unlike paging. These are the differences between paging and segmentation. With this we have completed discussing about all the topics in module 3. Let us move on to module 4, which talks about an interesting concept, virtual memory management.